Hey everybody, how's it
Hey,
going? We made it.
yes, and so did you. Congratulations.
Yes,
You guys
I'm
won
telling you.
air.
Uh,
Just one.
uh,
Enjoy it. It won't- Gone already. Yeah, you missed it if you weren't paying attention.
I tell you guys just sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes getting this show ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's half the fun. Like we should just record that.
Just record trying to get the store going.
Yeah.
Great. Post that as a whole video. People will be like, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
This is like
That.
20 of them just trying to figure out how to get it started. They've done it 500 times. No.
Yep. Well, anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we handle any questions, challenges you may be having. You can feel free to just post them there in the chat. You can post them on our website. You can find us on Discord. You can send us an email anonymously at dww@bss.studio. That's dww@bss.studio. We'd be happy to handle anything that you might be going through that you're having a challenge with. We are not professional therapists or counselors or attorneys or policemen or doctors or surgeons or urologists or prosecutors or financial planners or anything like that. We are just wanting to be your friend. We want to offer you some love, some perspective, some encouragement along the way, and maybe just a fresh look at the situation, because sometimes that's all we need.
Yeah.
We fully understand that you are smart enough to figure this out on your own, but sometimes it helps to just have a look at the bigger picture. Sometimes we get caught in some detail that we can't get past. So anyway, our producer is Jesse. Our chat room hostess is Princess. I am Joe, also known as CDVNL, and back with us now after being gone for what seems like at least a year is Static P, also known as Ryan. Welcome him back.
When you said that, for some reason, I'm thinking, those like, welcome back, Static P.
Fireworks.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey
I
guys.
had to like build it up, like, because this is like
Yeah,
a
you're
big
building
deal.
it up. It's like I just like, man, at this point, you need one of those things to really crank it and go overboard with it. Yeah, an air horn. Yeah, exactly.
We air horned it.
Mm-hmm.
We did it. It was cool. So yes. So welcome back, Ryan. It's great to have you.
Thanks. It's nice
How
to be.
was how was the Anime Expo?
It was
Please
good.
tell us.
Yeah. Why weren't you there? If you want to know more about it, why weren't you there?
You know,
Yeah.
there's really only one reason.
Excuses.
It's an excuse. Yep. And
Yeah, I know.
and it's because I wasn't committed enough to going.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You didn't even make time for it. You didn't even like consider it.
I
No,
didn't.
yeah, it was good. Had a lot of fun. Spent like a week and a half there, and I enjoyed it. It was nice to meet some of the people that I have been following Static P for a while, and talk with them and enjoy them as human beings. That was kind of cool. So, yeah, worked out well. It was great.
Yes. Now, did you wear your detective hat
Yes, I did.
and coat?
I didn't have a coat.
You didn't have a coat. Oh, okay. But you did wear the hat. Did people recognize you?
Yeah, a few people.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot, but a few people. Did I go out of a wrong exit? Not that I can remember. I don't think so.
I think that'd be scary in Los Angeles. Of course, I'm thinking on the expressway. Like, I'm thinking in traffic.
Oh,
Like going out the wrong exit. But you probably
Los
didn't drive
Angeles-
much, did you? You mostly
No,
walked.
we walked a lot.
Mhm.
And we did Uber and busing a few times. Los Angeles traffic isn't bad.
It's
Honestly,
not, huh?
no, it's not. It's not even as bad as Detroit.
Oh, Detroit's terrible.
I know, but it's not bad. Denver's worse. Detroit's worse. Now I've been to LA. If anyone complains about LA traffic, I have to just be like, nope, you don't know what bad traffic is. It's not that bad there.
Well, I imagine on the expressways
I was on the
at
express.
certain times of the day.
Maybe, but yeah, wasn't too bad. Oh, geez, Chicago. Yeah, no, just close the door. Don't like Chicago's awful.
Was it you and me riding together when we were stuck in Chicago for like 4 hours?
Many times.
Yeah.
You and I have been to Chicago multiple times together, and every time someone says we should just went the other way around.
Yep. We're like, hey, let's take the directions that Google says and go straight through downtown.
Yeah, let's see how that works.
Yeah. Oh, and it's Friday at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll work out great.
Yeah.
That's gonna work out great for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Chicago's pretty bad.
Yes.
I
Never
gotta
do that.
the Philippines, they've got the worst traffic in the entire world.
The Philippines?
Yep. Philippines have everyone beat if they want to complain about their traffic.
Well, I've never been there. I have no experience of.
Chicago's off limits from like 4 a.m. to 2 a.m. the next day. Chicago's pretty bad.
Yes.
You will get a traffic jam at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yes. You will get a traffic jam at 4 o'clock a.m. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you could.
Mm-hmm. It could happen. Yep. So I would imagine. I think Chicago is worse than Detroit, but Detroit is really Detroit's tough.
Detroit's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's confusing.
Yeah,
That's another thing about Detroit.
Roadways there on occasion.
Yeah. You would think that the place where like the car came from, like the car itself, like the place where the first mass-produced vehicles were created, would have a road system that made sense, but no.
No, of course they won't, because they're the first one to design roads, and then they tell everybody else, "Yeah, don't do what we did." That's what happened. Sure. They were like, you know what? We're the first one doing roads, and so they just went with whatever they felt would work, and then everyone.
It was like the big road experiment or something. They're like, hey, we got these new things called cars. Let's try this with the roads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that didn't work at all, actually.
No, yeah, that's not a good idea. Yeah, it isn't preferable that I drive 3 miles in one direction just because I wanted to go to the store on the other side of the street. It's not preferable. Oh, and the weird lane switches and during that. Yeah, it's just like
Yep. And everything's one way, and you got Michigan left-hand turns where you got to turn right to turn left, and
yeah. Yeah, guys, if you don't know what it means to turn right to turn left, you're lucky.
Yeah. Well, see, this Princess, I love you so much.
See ya, Akil.
Oh, Akil. Well, it's nice to see you.
Mm-hmm. It was nice.
Come back.
See you again soon.
Yes. Yes.
Don't
worry, weirdos. Yes.
These are the Don't Worry Weirdo gang.
Mm-hmm. That's us. Yep. Princess also keeps us on track. She's amazing.
She's trying hard.
Yes, but we have microphones.
Yeah, she doesn't have a microphone. Whoever is in charge here. We'll be experiencing it all too often. Guys, back on track.
Yep, we're working on it. All right, so hey, today is Swilk, also known as, is that Matthew Weeks? Is that Swilk?
Matt Swook, yeah, yeah.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Oh, dang, that's awesome. Happy birthday, man.
Yes, it's Matt's birthday. Happy birthday. It's great to see you here. I thought that might have been him, but I knew his name was
Yeah.
Matt. I
If
forgot.
it's your birthday, let us know. If you're the same Matt. Because there's obviously Matthew isn't that uncommon of a name. It could be a different Matthew than the book we know. So I guess that's good.
Yes.
Princess can get a microphone if she's airing on the show, which someday will probably happen.
It's not my birthday.
It's not my birthday, but thanks. Are you Swoke? Was it your birthday recently? Happy Cake Day. Nice.
Well, is Matthew Weeks also Swilk, or is that a different Matt?
Maybe not.
That's a different Matt.
Maybe Matthew Weeks is not Swoke.
Princess has one, but we can't hear her.
My ears are not
Yes.
strong.
Yes. Well, at any rate, so I'm sorry for the confusion. If you're not Swilk, I'm sorry. So anyway, but I will read that he posted in the on our website at bss.studio, and Princess just posted a link to it, that birthday, and he says, so yeah, it's my birthday today, but sadly I won't be in the DWW today.
Yes.
So yes, I'm sorry, Matthew Weeks. We're totally
yeah. Sorry about that, buddy. That's our fault.
Yep. I won't be at Don't Worry Wednesday today since I'm on a little trip with my family, and I'm not sure my parents are content with me waking up at 3 a.m. Don't worry, my sleep schedule is actually fine. I keep it under control. Also, if Ryan is back, tell him I loved Bad News.
Awesome.
Yes. Bad News is awesome. Not sure if Ryan's back, but hey, greetings to Broman Kyle otherwise. So yeah, not really a topic, but I was a bit late on adding my birthday to the calendar, and I've been called out for not telling people soon enough before.
On the other topics and problems, hope they get solved.
Yes.
Hey, thanks, Swook. I'm glad that you like Bad News. That's such a weird thing to say, but anyways, I'm glad you like Bad News. So yeah, no, that's awesome. It's probably my least favorite song of the whole series, but that's just because it took me forever to write, and I had to rewrite it like 50 times.
Yeah, you did.
At some point, I'm just like, man, I'm so annoyed at this. Let's just get this done with, and I threw it out there. I like it. So good.
I really like it too. I love that song.
I like the next two songs a lot better. They're so good.
Yeah, me too.
Guys, if you haven't heard them yet, which you haven't, you're missing out. And you are. Hey,
that's exactly right.
You guys haven't heard it. Pay attention. We're gonna do a Kickstarter sometime soon, and you guys can join in and hear and start to hear some of these songs.
Yeah.
Or if you're on our website, you can sign up to be a member and hear it when we release it there.
Yes, because those will be released before before many of them, before right. the actual release. The Kickstarter is going to be for the album, the Criminal Idol album, like the whole thing. Hey.
It doesn't happen again, but yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Princess, why are you not keeping us on track?
Hey, she gave us a topic and we went to the topic.
Yeah, we did read this. You're right. We were on track, actually.
Yes.
The topic was about bad news. So, yeah.
We did it. We did it.
Oh, Princess downloaded. Nice.
I will say that the video turned out amazing on Bad News.
Right? Rainy did such a phenomenal job.
I'm sorry. Did.
You are wonderful. I was just teasing. I love you so much, and I really appreciate all that you do for us here. and I was only blaming you because really I was actually blaming myself, and then pushing off onto you because um, I wanted to be humorous. So no more pouting, and I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
Sophia, my friends. Oh, yes.
Wow, that's Sophia. I am impressed with your discipline. Sophia
Yeah,
says, my friend sent me the link, like, look, it's on the website. And I was like, I'm gonna be patient and wait for the vid. And the vid and song didn't disappoint. I would not have been able to wait
for half a year,
for
right?
especially for half a year. I'd be like, finally, after I don't know, I'd look at it for like 10 minutes and I'd be like, okay,
No, I'm
the
done
video
waiting.
the video's that I'm done waiting. Yes.
By the way,
I'm
so I
listening.
I love you. Thank you for posting on all the videos and everything that I'm doing recently. It's so great to see you and read your comments. You always have such great things to say. I love your um, deductions in the Criminal Idol series that you add to the mix. So yeah, it's nice to see you.
Mm-hmm. And now, not only Princess is trying to keep us on track, now we have Jesse keeping us on track as well. Like, he actually has a microphone in our headphones.
Yeah, you
So,
know
like,
what, Jesse? If you want us to talk about a topic, why don't you do on the mic so that everybody can hear you and just start one up?
don't tempt him. He's going to do it.
Yeah. Joanne.
All right. Well, we do have. Please. I am sorry if I pronounce this wrong, but Saigo Hoshizora.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, we got this in email.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank you for emailing, Saigo. Do you think that's right?
Oh yeah. That's got to be Saigo
Okay,
and Hoshizora. Yeah.
Hoshizora.
Mm-hmm.
Saigo Hoshizora. I'm going to post the link. Oh, but Princess already posted the link. There is a redundant link. Nice. I said it right. Thank you. And so here it is. And yeah, so we will start with this one today.
Yeah. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesdays, the show where we actually talk about things. So okay, go for it.
Yes. But you know what? It's Ryan's first day back.
Yeah, let's just get off on topic right now again, since we're about to start this. But you know what? Okay, go.
All right. So this is from Saigo Hoshizora. It's called Burning Bridges Prematurely. So you can read along as I read as well. So, and this came through our email. So the first line is no need to be anonymous. I just prefer to send it through here because it's practical. That's awesome. And so I just wanted to tell you guys, if you do send us an email, unless you give us a little note that says, it's okay to, not be anonymous, we will just kind of automatically treat it as an anonymous.
Yeah, we'll
Just so
assume
you know.
that your intention was to be anonymous. Yeah.
Yes. So, all right. So then it goes on. Anyways, 2 years ago, I was on my senior year in high school, and I had a huge crush on a girl from my class. She ended up making friends with me, and I got pulled into her friends circle. It was probably the best thing in the entire year for me, but I'm kind of terrible at feelings, and I just kept the crush to myself, avoiding showing many signs because teenagers and logic don't always fit together. After 9 months, I told her, and the answer was, and I already have a boyfriend, which might or not have been a cop out. So I just assumed it was a sugar coated no, since I had absolutely never heard of this guy, and our friends were surprised when they heard about this guy sometime later. I took it in stride and I told her, it's fine, I'll handle myself now. And everything just continued the way it was before. The year was over, and both of us are pretty bad at maintaining contact, so we drifted apart over time. Occasionally, we'd interact on Facebook, and I still liked her. Yeah, getting over it isn't an idea my brain seems to like a bit. But a month ago, I decided to just randomly contact a few friends, and obviously she was included. We talked for a bit, and everything seemed fine. It was somewhat late, so we had to postpone the combo, but after that, responses were more and more delayed. I tried to message her when she was out of her work as a babysitter, and well, I can't speak for her. Eventually, she stopped reading my messages completely, and I tried sending a few just to get the notification to pop in again for her because she claims to just forget to respond sometimes. It wasn't the first time someone decided to start ignoring or avoiding me, and it was all way too similar to when that happened. I tend to try to see my own mistakes in a situation first and foremost, regardless if they were what caused it or just bullet points I need to keep in mind. And for this, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had screwed up somewhere for this to happen. Maybe it was just awkward since she knew I liked her. Maybe I had been a bit too curious about her situation and not willing enough to share my own. I don't have the tendency to talk about myself since I mostly enjoy playing games, and talking about them feels odd. Maybe I was not frequent enough with the texts and ended up feeling distant, among other things. It might have not been fun at all to be ignored in the other situation, but at least it wasn't someone I was too close with, so I didn't pay too much mind to it. But I was getting anxious about it when it came to her. Eventually, I got sick of it and decided to close contact. I explained my reasoning and apologized for anything I might have unintentionally done, and cut off my contact with her without blocking in case I was just being overly sensitive or letting emotions cloud my reasoning. About a month later, here we are. I got no response at all. Might be the case she didn't read that one either. Might be the case she was trying to avoid me and it just worked. Might be the case I'm just paranoid. Regardless, it doesn't feel like I resolved the situation correctly. I could have just stopped to and left it to die down again. A part of me wants to add her again, but another, much more sane, thinks it's just the loneliness talking and that going back is a terrible idea for the both of us. Anyways, enough wall of texting. Did I act too based on impulse? Did I misjudge the situation? Did I actually do the right thing and shouldn't be spending any more time over this situation, despite knowing very well I will?
Hmm.
Aha. And so that is from Saigo.
Thanks, Saigo.
Yes, thank you, Saigo. That's first of all, I wanted to thank you so much for sending this to our email.
Hmm.
And for having the courage to do that, because I mean a situation like this is tough to talk about sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's quite a bit going on here. I'm gonna let Ryan start us off and see what he has to say.
Sure. Yeah, again, thanks for posting this. And it does take courage to talk about things like this. Especially because it's something that is dear to your heart. It hurts, and it feels like maybe you messed up, or that sort of thing. And that's not fun to necessarily just kind of let put out there, right? But you did. So I applaud you in your uh, courage to do that, and your desire to do that to maybe help fix the situation, or at least understand it so you can move forward in some way or another, right? Um, when I read this, I have a certain scenario that comes to my mind. I've told this story a few times over the Don't Worry Wednesday stream, and that's because it was such a pivotal point in my life. Um, and I'm going to share kind of one of the shorter versions of it, since I don't need to get into all the details as they don't apply. But there was a girl that I liked quite a lot. It was a long distance relationship, so um, everything was through the internet. I actually had gotten to meet her in real life at one point, but oh, you said, wait, wait, wait. Okay, that's Sophia. Okay, um, you know, so this person, I had been talking to her for like a year and a half at this point, and we had gotten close. We talked every single day, and she knew that I liked her because I had told her, and she basically said that she doesn't like me back the same way, but she hopes maybe someday she could, that sort of thing. But she didn't know um, that would ever happen, and it never did. Anyways, um, through a mess of a scenario, and many different emotions, she eventually came to fall in love with this other guy. And when she and him became a boyfriend, um, she immediately cut all ties with me and
Mm,
never spoke with me ever again. In fact, I still have not received word that she's even alive to this day.
mm,
Um, I have no idea what's going on with her in her life. Um, but I remember that feeling of being blocked and just completely removed from their life. What's going on here with you is similar to that, and it's not exactly the same, right? It's similar, but um, I'll get back to that, the resolution of my story here in a little bit. One thing that I found interesting was that in she didn't block you, right? She didn't tell you that she is going to leave. She just stopped looking at your messages. It could be that she felt overwhelmed at some point in time. A lot of times when people just up and stop having conversations, it's because they generally feel overwhelmed.
mm,
Um, usually it's something like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't respond to them, and now they've got like 400 messages that I haven't even responded to." And at this point, I don't even want to say anything. I'm just gonna be like, you know, it's also the kind of maybe a little bit like that feeling of when you don't do your homework, and you don't even want to show up to class because
mm,
you're like, "Dang, I'm a disappointment," you know.
mhm,
Um, why am I ever, I don't want to show my face. Or it can be that she was choosing to do it against her will. I don't suspect that. People when they are trying to avoid people on purpose don't usually do a very good job of it. Um, they just kind of give in from time to time. So it's likely that whatever was going on, maybe she just felt overwhelmed, and then came to a point where she hadn't responded in so long that she didn't know how to respond anymore. And now she's at this position where she's just like, I just can't respond. I don't know what to say. I don't, there's no excuse. What do I say when he says, where have you been? And my answer is, oh, I was just pushing your messages off for a while because I didn't know what to say, and now I'm here and I'm
mm,
a terrible person, or she doesn't want to tell you that she was ignoring you, and now she has to ignore you because she doesn't want to tell you that she was ignoring you before. And now, honestly, that happens. That happens to a lot of people. Um, and I've been in that position before. And I found that the best way out of that is to actually just message the person and say, hey, you know what? I'm so sorry. But hey, I'm here now. And I'll read through your messages. I'm really sorry. But I think a lot of people don't know how to do that, and they don't want to go through that because it's um it's not fun admitting something like that you are ignoring somebody for a time because you don't want them to hate you. And that's interesting because you're so afraid of the fear of being hated that you'd rather end the relationship than try to fix it.
mm,
You're so afraid of making yourself look bad at the other from the other person's perspective that you'd rather just not be looked at all. You'd
mm,
rather not be seen than attempt and be seen and thought bad of, which is interesting, because then you end up with no relationship instead of a chance at one. But lots of people do that. Now, can I say for certain that that's what's going on here? No, I can't. But to me, with what's going on and how they just kind of stopped responding and stopped looking at the messages, um, it reminds me uh, of times that I've been in that situation, or times other people I know have been in that situation. It sounds like that sort of thing. Now I could be wrong, um, but I guess the only way to find out is if she tells you, and she might never do that. So back to my story here. She might never respond to you ever again, right? And that's what happened to me in my scenario. What was interesting was I remember she she got this boyfriend and she just moved on, and she basically removed me from her life. And after a couple of weeks, I figured out what had happened and that I would probably never see her again. And and I remember going into church that morning with my mom, and we were sitting in the pew, and a song was being played. It was the middle of mass, um, and I believe it was during the collections. But either way, um, the song was playing, and it's called um, "The Summons." I've referred to this song a lot on this stream, so if you've heard this before, I apologize. But the song is called "The Summons," and I would recommend checking it out. It's called "The Summons," um, by John Bell or John Graham, something like that. Anyways, oh yeah, there you go. Princess has
Princess
got
posted a link for you.
yeah, "The Summons." Um, so I remember being in the pew and my mom's sitting right next to me. Well, we're standing rather. Um, and we're singing this song, and she leans over and she tells me, this was Randall's favorite song. Randall was a close friend of ours who had recently passed. He's like, This was, Randall's favorite song to sing in church." Oh, John Bell and Graham. So, okay, there you go. That's why I was confused. Um, so, anyways, I was like, because she had said that, I was kind of shaken because I was like, wow, I didn't know that. Um, and it made me really focus on the words of the song. And I realized the song was telling me something really important. And it's a song that's about God's love and how God's love works in us, and then our love returns and works in Him. Um, and it basically is a song about how you live and grow, and um, you live and grow inside of a person with love that you've shared with them throughout your life. So when you give love to somebody, that stays in them, and that changes their actions throughout the rest of their life.
Mm.
That's how powerful love is, and love does that. You can think back to the times that probably this person has had an impact on you, and how throughout the rest of your life, you will do certain things, um, maybe think certain ways or have certain perspectives or like certain things that you would never have if you never met that person. And that's one of the interesting and beautiful things about love. And I remember listening to that song and feeling a sense of relief, like it wasn't a waste. All that time I spent on this person, I live on in her. And for the rest of her life, um, her rest of her life is going to be slightly different because I was in it. And my life is going to be different because she was in my life. And that gave me such a profound sense of peace and joy that I actually started crying in church. And after church, someone asked my mom, "I was like, is he okay? What happened?" And she was like, "Oh, he was touched by the Holy Spirit."
Hmm.
And I was like, "That's great. It's a great response." But anyhow, yeah, I mean, I would recommend listening to the song and read through a few times, if you need. But I'll tell you, that was one of the things that really changed my mind about the whole thing. It allowed me to not. It allowed me to let go. I didn't need to chase after it because what's done is done, and that love continues throughout the rest of our life, and I don't need to do anymore. And and if I feel like I need to do more, it's because I want it for me. And that's not really love. Love is not selfish like that, right? Love is a gift. When you really love someone, you're you're trying to give something without any return. Um, if you want somebody in your life, that's a desire of your own will. Um, and the phrase, it kind of works here. If you love them, let them go. If they come back, it's, well, I don't know. But that's true.
Hmm.
If you love them, sometimes you just have to let them go their own way, and respect that decision of theirs, and wish the best for them. And your lives and how whatever interactions you had, hopefully will uh, bring more good into their life as their life continues moving forward. So I hope that that can be something that you can take with you and allow yourself to move on past this, because the ultimate thing here is you don't control her actions
Mhm.
and you are not responsible for it. You might feel like you messed up, but you didn't, because the truth is her actions are her own. And
Mhm.
even if you mess up, she can always choose to come back if she's a friend, or she can choose to walk away at any moment, even if you didn't mess up. That's the way things are. Um, in any lasting relationship, forgiveness is crucial. You have to have that, or a relationship can't last. And so basically what I'm saying here is it's her choice to move on, and you have no responsibility, no nothing you can do, and nothing you did in the past can really change that future. So I would say the best thing you can do is move on and respect her choice, if she does never want to say anything ever again. And just, yeah, remind yourself that, you know what, that's okay. It's really okay. Um, but anyways, I've said quite a lot. I'm gonna let Joe take over here.
Well, I do love what you're talking about there, Ryan, because I think, like that really gets to the heart of the question, where it was like, okay, did I act, like, were my actions correct? Did I misjudge this situation? Did I actually do the right thing? That those those thoughts, you address that so well, and just helping. I mean, I always feel like I'm the one who made the mistake, and that's why somebody did acted a certain way. And I have to remind myself exactly what you said there, is that no, they made their choice to act a certain way. I didn't make them do anything.
Right.
I might have messed something up, but I'm good at that. Just like what I tell
Yeah,
my
we all
kids,
mess up, but they still
yeah,
make their own choices after we mess up.
absolutely, absolutely. When someone messes up, I like to think, if somebody makes a mistake when it comes to me, hopefully I'm gracious and forgiving and always seeking, to be reconciled with them and to forgive and preserve the relationship. That's how I try to be now, and hopefully that's the way I am. There was a time when I was not like that at all, and I would burn bridges, like
Mm,
you've done here. I've burned bridges lots of times with lots of different people, with ex-girlfriends, with bandmates, with employers, with all kinds of stuff. I had burned bridges with lots and lots of people. And I'll say this, burning bridges, looking back on it, I mean, the only peace that I have with that now is just the reminder that I can't change anything. I can't change what I did. So therefore, since I can't change it, it's not up to me at all whether this gets reconciled. There's really very little I can do because of the harshness of the break, because that bridge was burned, right? And so we just have no contact at all with any of these people, and it's a really sad thing. There are times when I look back and I regret doing that, you know, but at the same time, just because I did something like that, I look back, and even though I regret it, I realize that I learned from it.
mhm.
I realized that experience made me, you know, it it made me realize things and learn things that helped me to grow as a person. That I would never have learned some of these things if I hadn't done those things. Like, those experiences helped to kind of shape me into who I am now, where I understand the gravity of burning bridges with people. I understand how powerful that can be and how permanent it can be, and how hard it can be to try. Like, when you burn a bridge, how hard it can be to try and get that back. Now, this is very interesting because now I'm speaking in terms of when I burned a bridge with an employer, because I left a job, and the way I left a job, it wasn't like horrible, but because of kind of the sequence of actions that happened up to the point where I left, it burned the bridge with that employer. Right. And so I I think I'd basically become blacklisted at that place. You know, like I can still go there and buy things, but I can't ever work there again, right? And it's crazy because there was a time after that when I was struggling to find a source of income, and so I kept going back in there and trying to talk to people, and they were nice and cordial and everything and whatever, but then never ever anything got through ever. My applications never got through, nothing. It was just like, nope, nothing, because they're like, we've been here before, we're not dealing with this guy ever again. And so just going through that, and then I'd have people telling me, well, just go back there and beg. I'm like, dude, the bridge is burnt. There's nothing I can do. I've gone back in, I've talked to them. They're like, well, just try it, go back in. What was the comment? Hat in hand. Like, your hat in your hand, and you're just like, oh, please. And I'm like, I mean, I did that already. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to continue doing it if it doesn't work. So I understand how hard it can be to try and, get back what you feel like you lost after you burn a bridge. And there was a time with bandmates when I burned a bridge there. And then, I don't know, it was probably like 6 months later or so that I actually showed up where they were at. And, we had conversations, but it was really, really awkward, and it was just, and then we haven't spoken ever since. And that was probably 10 years ago, or no, more than that, 15 years ago, something like that.
Realistic.
Yeah.
Everything 15 years ago.
Yeah, because I met Ryan like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and this was way before I ever met Ryan. So at any rate, all those things, I think what I'm trying to say through all those examples is just that, what's done is done. You can, if it bothers you in the future, you can always try to reconcile with the person. I mean, you can see where it goes. Maybe it'll go somewhere. Who knows? But this is a time where you can learn some stuff as well, and so it's not a wasted event. It's not just all bad, because you can learn some great stuff. You can learn about who you are to some degree. You can learn how to shape who you are to some degree, and that's really awesome. So here's what I would do, though, because in the midst of this, it sounds to me like, oh, you shouldn't be spending any more time over this situation, despite knowing very well that I will be spending more time over this situation. I understand. And it is going to come back, that you're going to have thoughts about it, and, whatever. So here's kind of what I've found helped me. And that is to wrap yourself up in something like a purpose. Find a mission. Find something that you want to run after, that's yours, that's you, like your mission. And it can include other people. Obviously, it's not going to include the person that, you're talking about here, but find some kind of mission and get busy doing it. Get busy figuring it out. Get busy moving forward toward the goal. And when you do that, all of those voices that speak to you and say, that share regret with you, and that, talk to you about how you screwed up and all that stuff. Those voices get quieter and quieter and quieter. The burdens get lighter and lighter and lighter, and they don't drag you down. I remember hearing a guy talk about, achieving business goals, and he said it's kind of like when you get started, you're rowing a boat, and you've got there's an anchor, like, and it's dropped, and you're rowing a boat while it's anchored, and it's like you're trying to get going, and it's the same thing here. You've got all these voices in your head. You've got all this stuff telling you how you screwed up, and asking the what if questions and stuff like that. So if you just find a goal and start going after it, it's going to start off kind of like that. It's going to take a lot of effort, and you're going to be working hard, but you're going to feel so good about yourself when you try hard at something, that all that other stuff is going to get quieter. And he said, interestingly enough, you row and you row and you row and you row, and you start dragging the anchor, and you start to get some momentum, and then all of a sudden the anchor hits a rock, and maybe it knocks you off course a little bit, but then eventually it bumps enough stuff and that anchor breaks off. And then you're just flying. Now, the memory of the anchor never fully goes away, because you always have the rope that the anchor was tied to, and it's still there, right? So the memory of the thing that was bad, that was holding you back, it never really goes away. But it doesn't hold you back anymore. And that was really important. That was some stuff I needed to hear, and that's some stuff I needed to remind myself of, because there have been times when I have tried really hard and failed, and tried really, really hard again and failed, and continued to try hard and failed. And like, it's just been there's been a lot of that happening. It's been a lot of growth through that. But the mission remains. And when you can find something like that to latch onto, find something to pour yourself into, all that other stuff just kind of fades away. And possibly that may be what happened with her. Maybe she found a mission. Maybe something happened and clicked in her head, and she had an epiphany. And she was like, I have a purpose, and I need to do this. And she just got...
Toilet.
What's that?
And so she dropped her phone in the toilet and said, goodbye. I'm not looking at any messages.
She wouldn't have had to do that, but yeah, that could, possibly.
Anyways, sorry.
But, maybe that happened with her. Maybe she found something to run after, and so all of the stuff that wasn't related to it just got pushed aside. And that, unfortunately, included your posts and communications. So that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe it had nothing to do with you at all. Maybe it had nothing to do with whether she liked you or didn't like you, or maybe she feels no good or ill feelings about any of this at all. But maybe she does. Either way, your next steps should probably be the same. And I would find something. I would find something that you have always wanted to run after, something you've always wanted to do, some course to pursue. If it's creative, great. If you write music or do art or write stories or poetry or anything like that, anything that's creative can be a tremendous outlet, and it does require a lot of focus in order to create that stuff. And what happens when you're in that moment of creation, the rest of the world kind of goes away, kind of just fades into the background, and you're there creating something. And the emotional turmoil that you feel from this situation can be brought into the creation, and it can make something really beautiful. So I encourage you also to move in a direction of creativity and find a mission. And all this stuff, all this second guessing yourself will start to get quieter.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've said the same thing over and over again. I've said it like 4 different ways. So Ryan, what else do you have?
I do. That's so relatable, man. When saying that. Yeah, no, but you're right. And that's the way things are. You know, sometimes you go through things and at the end of them you're like, well, that's done. What's next? You know, because you cannot change the past, right? The past is the past and it is what it is. And sometimes the bridges get burnt and you're like, well, there's no going back and changing it now. It is done. It is what it is. I can't literally do anything about this. There are many times like when I'm in a situation with a person and they get mad at me and they leave, I'm like, now I'm stuck with this turmoil. I can do nothing because you're gone. And I can't work this out with myself because it's with you. So what do you do in that situation? The answer is not get mad at myself or try to figure it out and with myself, because I can't. That's impossible. There are things in life you can't change. And when those things exist, you don't try to change them, but you can allow them to change you. And I think that that's valuable. Allow those things to change you for the better when that happens. Because, yeah, it happens all the time in everybody's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens to all of us.
Cannot change. And that's okay. Because here's the thing. Whatever you can't change didn't matter anyways. Doesn't matter in the end. In the end game, doesn't matter. Because you can't change it. What can you change? Focus on that. Find direction and start moving. Because otherwise you'll beat yourself over what you can't do. And that's a dumb place to be. And I know from experience. We all do. So yeah, it's basically what Joe's just saying, find something to move on. Find something that you're passionate about, something that you can give to the world. Find something and make good of this scenario. There can be good that comes out of any scenario that we think is bad. And you know what? That's another thing. Don't be so quick to think that this is bad. A lot of times we experience something we don't like and we immediately say, I don't like it, therefore it is bad. That's not true. Evil, yeah, if it's evil, it's just clearly bad, right? But just because we don't like something doesn't make it bad, right? Kind of human nature, we have this preferred, like, especially when we're young, we love candy, and we don't much like salad. But just because we don't like salad as much doesn't mean that salad's not as good as candy. The truth we all know is that salad would be healthier for you, especially as a child. But that's one obvious and silly example, but that's throughout all of life. You go through something and somebody blocks you. You don't like that feeling that it left you with, but that doesn't mean it's bad, because that can be an opportunity. That can be an opportunity for many things. And that can be, sometimes things happen in life that force you to move forward. And that's why bridges are burnt. When the bridge is burnt, you can't cross it. But a bridge burnt doesn't mean you're left in a corner all to yourself where you can't move on. Because there's always another way to walk, another path to go on. If your bridge is burnt, it just shows you, hey, by the way, you've been chasing this thing for a while now. And maybe, sometimes God does this for you because you're not getting the message. Like you're trying to chase this girl or something. And then Then all of a sudden it just falls apart. And it's like, hey, buddy, listen, you've been chasing this for so long and I'm trying to get you on this other path. Okay, I'm gonna have to burn the bridge if you don't stop. All right, you're doing it again. All right, fine. Quiet. And the bridge is burnt, and he's like, okay, good. Now you can't chase it. Now go over there. Do this. This is where your happiness is. I'm trying to get you in to go over there. Happiness isn't over here. Any bridge that can be burnt is not where your happiness will ever be. Anything that can be burnt is not strong enough to support you for your life, for eternity. So anything that can be burnt cannot give you endless happiness. And so that's why it's okay if things get burnt. It's okay if bridges collapse, and it's okay if you lose relationships or lose a game or lose whatever, and you can never restore that. Because those things, they don't matter. They matter, yeah. I mean, they're part of our life, but they don't make or break our happiness. Our happiness is something else, something that we can gain through chasing another path. And no matter what path we take in life, there's always a path that leads to good. And sometimes paths get closed off for us. And even though it feels bad, it's to point us down another path that's way more fulfilling. I have to be honest, there are many, many things, and I don't mean to be, obviously I have no intention to be rude. But there are many more beautiful things to chase than some girl that isn't interested in you. Because out there somewhere, there might be another girl that is. And you haven't been spending time with her yet. Maybe go find her. Out there in the world, you've got purpose. You've got dreams to fulfill. You've got people to spend time with and help. And when you're chasing this girl, you can't do that because girls take up a lot of time. So, yeah, don't think of it as a bad thing. Think of it as a forceful good thing, because that's a lot of times what happens in life. But anyways, I hope that helps, my friend. And that's all I got for you, Saigo. Do you got anything you'd like to add to that, Joe?
Just one thing, and that is if you're having trouble coming up with a purpose or a mission, which that there are times when that happens, and it's just, we're shell shocked a little bit and we don't know where to start, and we don't have a direction. Then the key number one step there is some type of physical activity. Always keep that in your back pocket. Always keep that when you're lost, you don't know what to do, you're totally, I can't figure anything out. Go for a walk, go for a run, go for a jog, do some push-ups, do something, do some kind of exercise. Because what that does is it releases endorphins, it gets your blood flowing, it gets more activity through your body. It kind of flushes through your system. So if you start doing that, what you'll find happens is a lot of the fog in your mind will clear out, and you'll be able to focus. You'll have more confidence, and you'll be able to, determine things a lot more. Like you'll be able to kind of just cut through the confusion a lot more. So that's the only thing I would end with is just, if you're having trouble coming up with a mission or a purpose or something like that, then start by doing some exercise. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen all at once. You're going to go run for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden your mission's going to become absolutely clear to you. That's not how it works.
No,
I know, right? But starting that process, it will start to get rid of all the confusion. And here's the thing about mission. You really do get to choose your mission. You get to choose your own adventure, and you don't have to do, you can follow a mission for a while and your mission can change.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. The seasons of life, they're not always the same.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. There have been many times I've had lots of different missions. I've been on a mission most of my life and many different missions.
One of the missions led to me and my brother and all of what we've got going on now, and from that became a new mission.
Hmm.
You know, and this wouldn't exist without the mission before it. You know, so.
Right. Exactly. It's amazing.
Mhm.
But yep, absolutely. So I hope that's helpful for you, Saigo. Saigo says they say third time's a charm. So for the third time, thanks for doing this. It means a lot to everyone who gets their messages read. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you took the time to post and send us the email. And please continue. Send us updates on the situation. Send us updates on what else is going on. If you're going down the path and you find a mission, send us and let us know. Or if you get stuck or hung up somewhere, feel free. And I'm excited to see where your life goes.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, you were a senior in high school. You've got some exciting times ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a wild ride and it's going to be fun. And you can make it fun. But I would get started,
Mm-hmm.
pursuing something, pursue something, make it an obsession and pursue it. Not a person. Don't, like Ryan was saying, I would not try and get obsessed with another person,
I think
but with a mission.
we've been down that road enough where we've realized the flaw of
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But yeah, it happens. So if it happens, it happens. But yeah, don't aim for it.
Yeah. So, and anyway, we love you
Mm-hmm.
and wish you the best.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Saigon. You're amazing.
Yes.
And yeah, we definitely hope to hear a lot more from you. And getting to maybe experience a little bit of your journey with you. That would be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, IQ. Cool. So shall we move on to the next one?
Yes, we shall. What do we have next?
I don't know. I haven't been here for like 2 weeks, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know which ones you
We
did.
just got a new one.
Yeah. Oh, from Cure Ascendant. It's a cool name, by the way.
Yes. Well, we got a couple of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One of them's from Nobody. It was posted on the website 11 minutes ago.
Oh,
And one of them is from Cure Ascendant that was posted just now in the chat.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, you're the host, so tell me.
I'm the host. Well, okay. So well, Akil is going through some moving procedures outside.
I see. I see.
So we'll let
Let those procedures commence.
yes.
Distract you any longer.
Yes. Let's see. And we have not gotten another email yet. So I noticed in the chat that there were some folks asking about some of the logistics of sending us messages.
Yeah.
As far as AKD, the email address, your email address, we will see if you send us an email at dww@bss.studio. Also, we on staff at bss.studio, we can see your email, but we're the only ones who can see it. We never share any of that. So you are fully safe and secure posting either there or sending us an email or in the chat or anything like that. If you want to maintain some anonymity, that's totally cool.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, all right, so let's do let's do this one from nobody. I'm hoping that nobody is still here.
I have a bad personality. That's what they said.
Yes, it's
All
called
right.
I have a bad personality, and so I'll send you guys.
Nobody, if you're here, let us know. So just so that we
I
know.
think maybe
Unless,
AKD is nobody. Is that
oh,
true?
I was gonna say unless they intend to be anonymous, I suppose, with that sort of name, nobody. But yeah,
Okay,
okay. Okay.
perfect. So that's the one we'll handle next because it was 11 minutes prior to Kira Send It, and then Kira Send It, you are next.
Cool. That sounds great.
So there's the link to Nobody's. And
AKA AKD. Also known as.
oh wait, no, that's not. That's the link to the last one.
Yeah.
Wrong. Let's try this again. Yeah, I got it to the other place in time.
Oh yeah, you did. You did.
Got it to Jesse.
Tempt. You totally destroyed me.
I I did, man. Look at that. So,
Yeah.
all right. So this is called I Have a Bad Personality. And it says this. So I've been lying to everybody my whole life. Everybody thinks I'm a good guy, but in reality, I'm really not. I have a really bad personality where I cannot stop lying and I can't trust anyone. A lot of my friends say they wish their life was like mine. No worries, never feel sadness, always honest, always happy. But I always think ill of everyone, even if they never hurt me or anything. I never trust anyone, so nobody knows how I feel. That's why people wish they were like me. I never show my real feelings. I slept late one day and missed the bus. If I told my mom I was late because of such a mistake, I figured she'd get angry at me. She started calling me, so I panicked and stabbed my leg with a small knife. I don't even know why I did that, but I told her that I couldn't go to school because I injured my leg. My leg bled a lot, and I was really scared, but I was laughing at the same time. I used to mess with people who have depressions because I thought they were weird. I still think they are, but I'm not doing that anymore because my brother has depression too. Once I met with my friends just because they wanted me to go, and after 30 minutes, I messaged myself with the fake messages app, or with the fake message app. I showed them that my father wants me at home immediately. Then I told my parents, then I told my parents they were drinking beer. They are religious, so I came back. They really become happy that I chose my religion over my friends. I have already said too much, and I want to ask, is it too late for me to stop acting? I really think it is. My personality is just too filthy and ugly, but everybody still thinks I'm the most honest person they have ever met. I don't even know since when I'm acting. I just don't want to wear a mask anymore, but if I reveal my true self, nobody would like me. Do I have to act my whole life? All I want is a yes or no, nothing more.
Hmm.
And that is from nobody. Thank you for posting. My goodness. I can tell you this, that you're not alone in feeling this way or being this way or putting up a front or acting or putting forth, a false persona. You know, I spent years doing that.
Me too.
And I remember feeling exactly like it's so crazy because reading you, I was like, I remember those exact feelings and how hard it got after a while. And so I really, really appreciate that you posted. And Ryan, what do you have to say about this? Oh, I do have a
Um,
question. If you wouldn't mind posting, you mentioned religion. I was curious if you are okay with posting what that religion is. That might help with some insight as well. So,
hmm.
if you feel like that's okay, then please post it. If you would like to not, then that's fine too. So,
Yeah. You know, it's such an interesting thing. I think, there are some people definitely in this world who have never put on any kind of act. Maybe. But I know that I'm not one of those people. I've definitely put on an act. I remember um, I used to pretend to be the smart kid, even though I was pretty not smart. I used to pretend that like to everybody that I had all A's, and I was going to be like a scientist or a doctor when I grew up or something. It was dumb because it didn't matter. No one cared about that, but I cared a lot because I wanted people to see me a certain way. I wanted people to think I was smart so that they'd respect me, because I thought that's how you got respect. And what I found out is in the end, I didn't really make very many friends that way. Um, and in fact, I kind of just pushed people away. Now, your scenario is different than that, of course. Um, with your scenario, you have these, dark thoughts, right? You could call them that, and you lie, and you have bad thoughts about people, but you don't say them, right? Because you are also, at the same time as you maybe aren't kind, you still have this innate desire to have friends. And in fact, you call them your friends. I met with my friends just because they wanted me to go after 30 minutes, etc. Um, it tells me that even if you think that maybe you're a horrible person, or maybe if you think that you're all like just completely evil, I would say no. Don't allow yourself to believe that. You're just as human as everybody else here, and you know, you want to preserve your friendships and your relationships with people and your status or your reputation. Totally, 100%, absolutely understandable and relatable to, I think, probably every single person here. Um, and so don't be discouraged. Here's what I have to say. You point all this out because you I'm going to say probably because you don't like it. Maybe I would guess if it was me in your scenario, I wouldn't like that I have to lie to everybody. Because again, you know what that's like, and having to hold that lie and tell more lies to keep it going, and then even if you get away with it, you feel that, you experience that shame, right? And by the way, stabbing yourself and then laughing as you're bleeding, that's actually like totally not like you're insane or anything. I'm serious. That is not insane. That would be depicted as being insane in a movie, but in reality, laughter comes from humor usually, but laughter comes from a lot of times when something happens that we are just like shocked by. And in that scenario, you stab your own leg to get away with something, and you're like, it is kind of humorous, even though yes, it's not good for your body. Um, I would say that laughing at a time like that, don't think that you're crazy. That actually also is pretty normal. I think I would laugh if I had done something like that, because it's like, whoa, what am I doing? I'm so intense, right? Uh, it's crazy. And then I would laugh about it. So I don't think that you're crazy or anything. But anyways, back to what I was saying before. Here's the thing. Remember, I was saying like I was putting on a facade, right? And I found out in life so I had put on a facade for a really long time, and I did not make very many friends. I had a lot of bullies growing up. I had very few friends. In the last 2 years of school, I kind of just broke away from all that, and I started to be not myself. Instead, I started to be the person that I desired to be most. And I hope that I can point you in that direction, because sometimes it's not about, do I have to stop acting, or or should I keep acting, etc. Sometimes it's about figuring out, I guess do this. If you could do this for me on your when you can, when you have time to think about this. Imagine yourself being perfect, the perfect you. What are the qualities of that? What are the qualities of someone that you would respect? Think of somebody that you know and you're just like, wow, that's such an outstanding person because they do this. What is that thing? What is that thing that you're proud of them for doing? Be that person. Be the person that does that thing. If for me, it was realizing that I had that. I knew who I wanted to be. I knew who the best version of myself was, or at least I had an idea of it. And I said, I could do that. I could be that. And it was hard because I had to act differently to all my friends who already knew me. And that's scary because I've acted one way for so long, and to switch and just be like, yeah, I'm this way now. I got weird looks, but you know what? They stayed my friends, and I lifted them up and they lifted me up because we went through that together. And and I started to actually like who I was inside. And the more I liked who I was inside, the more I felt free to just be myself and chase after who I wanted to be and enjoy that. So I hope to invite you to do the same thing. To figure out who is it that you want to be, not who are you, don't worry about who's the real me. Don't worry about that. Because honestly, you are who you are the moment you act, however you act. If you go online and you're a bully to somebody, just because it's online doesn't mean you didn't do it. You were typing those things. You were thinking those things. You were typing those things, and you were treating that person like a bully. You are a bully. Let's say you go online and you treat someone really nicely. You hear them out. Maybe they have some issue, and you go out of your way to help them. You go out of your way to spend like 4 hours with them and just listen to the things they have to say. And you make that sacrifice for them, even though you never even met them before. You are that person doing that in that moment. So when you feel like, you're putting on this facade, maybe you're thinking bad things about your friends, but instead of saying those bad things, you say nice things instead. You're a good person. You're an amazingly good person, because for some people, they don't even have those thoughts and they still don't say those nice things. Some people don't have the negative thoughts, and they have good thoughts all the time, and they say those good thoughts. But you know what? You're putting in more effort than they are to be kind, to be the person. Yeah, maybe you're doing it just for the reputation. That's okay, but you're still being that person that's doing nice things. So don't ever not give yourself credit for that. You have to give yourself credit for that. And I think that's amazing. Here's the thing. Every single person in this chat, every single person, I know myself a lot. I'm sure Joe, even though he's not anything less than perfect, but but
That's
even
right.
that,
That's right.
yeah. No. Every person has bad thoughts, and some people have a lot of them. Everybody has their demons. And you know what? Sometimes we have these weird thoughts that just come across our mind, and they're terrible. Like, like terrible things. Like, I don't even want to say it, like, or I'll just like, like, I wonder what it'd be like to kill somebody. I've never had that thought, but I know people who have, right? And it's like, yeah, but are you going to? No. See, your thoughts don't make you who you are, because you get to decide what you do with that thought.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have bad thoughts, and some days are going to be worse than others.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the main thing to keep in mind is, who do you want to be? Be that person. Who would you look up to? Be that person. Don't worry about who you are right now. Don't worry about all the bad thoughts that you have about people, or about all the lies that you've told in the past. Okay? Don't worry about that right now. The thing you want you to worry about is, who do you want to be? Who do you think the best version of yourself? What does the best version of yourself look like? What virtues does that include? Is that patience? Is that kindness? Is that perseverance? Able to stick through when times are tough? Is that courage? Being able to stand up against whatever comes your way? Is that peace? Being able to know you're in the right place at the right time and saying, you know what? Wherever I am, I'm okay. I'm okay with myself, and I'm okay with the things around me. And I'll take life as it comes and find strength in every moment. You know, there's all sorts of different things and attributes that we want to chase as human beings because they lift us up and make us feel better about ourselves. If you have lies, you know what? There's forgiveness.
Mhm.
There is. We don't live in a world where there is no such thing as forgiveness. If we lived in a world where forgiveness did not exist, there would be no hope for humanity. We could not have friendships. All friendships would end. They're like literally things. Existence could not work. Human relationships could not work. We could not even function with ourselves because we would destroy ourselves inside. Instead, we live in a world where forgiveness is an actual thing,
Mhm.
where you take whatever happened in the past and you just let it go. It is what it is. It wasn't right. It wasn't good. But you know what? We can move on and we can learn from those things. And you know what's amazing is that those bad things, amazingly good things can come out of that into the future. And I've seen that time and time and time and time and time again in my own life and lives of others. So anyhow, yeah, I know you wanted just a yes or no. If you want that, my answer is actually no. Don't worry about taking your mask off. Okay? Because that mask is you putting forth an effort, trying to be what you think you're supposed to be.
Mhm.
That mask shows your strength of being able to do what you don't want to do, or to hide those evil thoughts that you don't want other people to know you have. That mask, while you might despise it and it might not feel good and it might make you think that you aren't being real with yourself or to other people around you, that mask does show your strength. And that mask shows me that you have all the potential in the world to become whoever it is you want to be. So don't worry about the fact that it's a mask, because you aren't set in stone yet. You can become what you believe is the right you, the best you. I know I've made some huge changes over the course of my life. Who I am now is not who I was when I was 3. Was
Mm.
not who I was when I was 5. Who was not who I was when I was 7 or 10 or 14 or even 17, 21, 25, 27. I am 29 years old, almost turning 30. And I can tell you all those different points in my life I just mentioned, I'm not the same. I'm different. I have different thoughts that go on in my head now. And I'm so grateful for the past that I've had. And I am so grateful that I am where I am now. And that I could journey through life and become better at something. I wasn't born perfect. And that's so cool. Because instead, I get to go through life being able to change and form and really show my strength as a human being, to possess new abilities That's one of the most beautiful things about being human beings and not being born with everything being perfect and set in stone, is that we can slowly improve and take shape and form and take glory in that
Mm.
and find great glory in that, because we do that through our own efforts and through the efforts of our friends around us and through the efforts of God in our lives. So that's a beautiful thing. And you are on that journey. Hopefully, what I said is helpful, and it doesn't discourage you in any way. But anyways, I'm sure Joe has a lot more to relate to you even than I do on this issue. So I'm gonna hand it over to him.
Yeah, what you said was helpful to me, Ryan.
Hmm.
As per usual. Usually, a lot of times what Ryan says is exactly what I need to hear at any given moment.
Oh, thanks.
For stuff going on in my own personal life. It's crazy. But I did want to I mean, I don't know what I would say other than what Ryan said, because he said a lot that was very awesome. Yeah, no, because you talked for a long time. No, that's not it.
Yeah, it is.
I will say you do not have to wear a mask for your whole life. To answer the question, that particular question,
For your whole
you
life?
don't
No,
you don't have to act your whole life. And here's the interesting thing. I'm just gonna tell you, I've seen this happen in my life, and I've seen this happen in other people's lives, and I'm going to give you both perspectives of me being a person who was in so many ways like you're describing here, lying about things that were just, not even important things. Just little things, just always dishonest, just to embellish a story or make the story seem better, or to make up a story because I wanted something cool to happen in my life. And, so I'd make up a story and I'd tell the story and it totally was a lie. And, all kinds of stuff. And it's crazy. Here's the thing. When I learned, okay, and then I also had another friend who was going through a situation where he was lying to a lot of people in his life, pretty much everybody in his life. He had some addictions that he was going through and all that kind of stuff, and some, and that had kind of built up this foundation of dishonesty. And I'll tell you, here's the result of changing that. The result of taking off the mask and of being genuine. The result is peace. This inner turmoil that you have going on about your life. You call yourself a bad person. You say you have a bad personality. I don't think there is such a thing as a bad personality. I think that we make choices and then we feel the effects of those choices. And I remember when my life looked like what you're describing here, I was really stressed and tense, and I didn't trust anybody. And you know why I didn't trust anybody? Is because I was untrustworthy. Because I knew deep down inside that I was being dishonest. So I couldn't trust myself to tell what was true. So I was always stressed out about it, and I couldn't trust anybody. Now here's the thing. You take the mask off and you change then the result is you're not going to have that stress anymore. You will have stress. Stress finds its way into our lives regardless, but you won't have this one. And you will have such a new level of peace in your life and in your heart. just by living that way. When you live that way, like peace flows into you and it becomes a part of you. And you said something here that if you reveal your true self, nobody would like you.
You just did it. We like you.
I know. Yeah. That's one thing. First of all. Second of all, the people around you, they're going to like you. And here's the thing. I remember when I started to make this change. This doesn't have to be an all at once. I'm changing this now. A lot of times it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time in yourself to unravel some of this stuff and to just kind of start to, let go of it, because it's a habit and habits are tough to change. So, as you move down that journey, you're going to find yourself, feeling more and more peaceful, and the people around you are going to like it. You're going to be easier to be around because you have that peace. And that's what people said to me when I started making this change and it started to go. I remember my parents, they're like, you're different, and it's good. Like, good. Now, it's not that you were bad before. It's not that we didn't like you before, but I'm just telling you, I got to tell you that we can tell that you're growing, and that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, when I experienced this with my friend, I was on the other perspective. Now I was watching him do this in his life. And I remember feeling that exact same thing. Whereas, like, I had a phone conversation with him, and then a few weeks later, I had another phone conversation with him, and he was kind of different. He was a lot different. He was more at peace. He was easier to talk to. He was easier to listen to. And it wasn't that it was hard to talk to him before or hard to listen to him before. It's just that it was just, everything had some grease on it or something. I don't know. It was just really a lot easier. And that's what's going to happen when you start to take off the mask. That's what's going to start to happen. Now, you don't have to go back and write every lie that you told. You don't have to go back and, and admit to everybody, hey, da 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 da. You don't have to go back. You can just say, hey, I'm drawing the line right here in my life. Boom. That's all the past. I can't change what I did in the past. We never can, right? You can start living a new way at any time you decide.
That's true. A lot of people wait for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do that.
Right.
You can start right now.
Yeah. And I would encourage you to start right now. I would encourage you to just say, you know what? I'm going to start. Doesn't mean you're going to be 100% changed. It just means you're going to start. You're going to start trying. And like I said, you don't have to go back and apologize to every single person you've ever lied to and tell them that, what the truth was in the situation and go and make and do all that. You don't have to do that. You just start now. And it's okay.
They said, I think taking off the mask little by little is the best way.
Absolutely.
Post and Don't Worry Wednesday account, but I will not. Thanks. I will think about this. I never expected answers like these. I never expected you guys to be nice to me. I'm glad I wrote it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, here's the thing. One of the things that happens, the reason why we live that way is because we're wounded.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we build these walls up, the reason we build up a web of dishonesty, it's not, I mean, it might be benign in the beginning, but what happened? The reason is because we're wounded inside. We may have felt rejected. We don't want to feel rejected again. Who knows? We may have been hurt by somebody and we don't want to feel that pain again. So we feel like if we are completely honest and we just throw ourselves out there, then, you know, we're going to set ourselves up to be hurt again. And so I could never judge you ever,
Yeah.
because I know deep down inside there's hurts, there's pain that drives this. And my prayer and hope for you is that can heal. And I'll tell you this, I have not seen you here before, so I'll tell you this. We've said this a lot on this stream. The pathway to healing the pain that's causing you to live like this, there's a hurt that's going on that's causing this to happen. That pain can be healed, and the medicine is forgiveness. Like, that is the healing power. Like, when you can go back and you can figure out, why do I feel this way? What hurt happened? And when you can figure that out, when you can look back and you determine, what was the hurt? When you forgive that hurt, then you start to heal, and the healing process begins, and then all this starts to unravel. And people will love you. They'll love you regardless. The people around you.
Yeah.
And you will feel more comfortable in your own skin. You will feel more at peace. And people will love being around you because you got that just comfortable feeling about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't promise the same effectiveness, in my life and put it on to you. But my last 2 years of high school, was completely different than all the years before. Last year, 2 years of high school, I had way more friends. And honestly, we had such a big group. We basically became the popular crowd because there were so many of us that were friends. And it all spawned from just trying to be myself out in public. And it was super awkward at first. I would go and I would sit down next to people that I knew from band but never really ever talked to, so strangers or people who I knew didn't like me, or I knew they didn't like me, but the truth was I didn't know. I just assumed. I thought they didn't like me. I had these weird assumptions, like they hate me. I just thought everybody hated me, Anyways, I would sit down next to those people and I'd strike up a conversation and tell them hey, I like your shoes, and I would do my best to just improve myself. And what I found in the end was the more I felt comfortable with me, the more everybody else felt comfortable with me. And the more friends, the more easy it was to be around people when I had that self-esteem. And a lot more people wanted to be around me. And I think that's just human nature. People want to be around people who they're comfortable around. And you're the most comfortable when you're being yourself. And sometimes that means being honest. Let me tell you, you might think that you're the only one that has these bad thoughts about, maybe, you have bad thoughts about people, right? Other people have bad thoughts about other people too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Absolutely.
not necessarily good to go and point out all the negative about a person, right? You don't want to go around and I don't know, be like, oh my gosh, did you see Samantha? She has blah, blah, blah in her hair. And that's so gross, whatever. But you don't want to go around doing that. But if you tell people man, I have these thoughts and I don't like them. But I think bad things like this sometimes. People will relate to that and they'll be like, wow, this guy just came out to me. I feel like we really connected. People will be like, oh my gosh, I just had an intimate conversation with this dude. I feel like I'm on cloud 9 right now. I feel like his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you tell somebody about a problem you're having when they've never heard you talk about your problems before, or you tell them something you're sensitive about, right? Maybe you talk to somebody and you're just sitting there and you're like, I have this thing where it's I hate the way I look. And they're gonna be like, what? What do you mean? You look great. And it's yeah, I just don't yeah, it's just I'm trying to get over it. But yeah, some days I just upset about myself and the way that I look that day. And they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I just shared a moment with that guy. And trust me, if you allow yourself to be vulnerable for other people and intimate with other people, be real with other people, then your relationships start getting really good. It's just it's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
But a lot of people don't want to talk about the personal things in their life because they think if they reveal those things and they get rejected or people think bad about them, then they think bad about who they are as a human being. And then that's the worst feeling ever. But the truth is, a lot of times when we share those things, instead, we get the opposite. They relate to us and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm the same way. Or, wow, that sounds really difficult that you have to go through that. And they become more sympathetic rather than angry at you. And even people who become angry at you, it's okay. You're just being honest. And you know what? If they can't handle that, then it doesn't matter. You're still you. And their thoughts of you doesn't change who you are. In the end, their thoughts are just thoughts. They're not even real material. They're not matter. They're just opinions. And they don't change you. They don't decide what actions you're going to take next if you don't let them. But if you do let them, then your life is in their hands and not in your own. And that's not a good feeling. That's that feeling you have right now. Because right now, you're in a position where your whole life is being determined by the worry of what other people are going to think of you.
Mm.
And you will not find happiness there. I mean, I think you know that now, right? You know that by now. You've lived that. And I think a lot of us have, where we live that life of just, we're worried about what other people think of us and we want to make them happy so that we can be happy. But in truth, that doesn't make us happy. And they're not happy either.
Mhm.
It
Right.
doesn't work. It just does that. Reality doesn't work that way. And so, yeah, I'm 100% with Joe. If you can just come to be yourself, and like I said before, think about who is it that you wish to be, and start moving in that direction.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Key is start moving in that direction. I think you posted up there a bit ago, AKD, that little by little might be the best way to do this. Yeah, taking off the mask little by little is the best way. I agree with that, because I mean, if you try and change everything all at once and do a complete turn, you're going to overwhelm yourself. It's going to feel so foreign, and it's just going to be off, and then you won't stick, right? But if you just take it, one step at a time and change certain behaviors here and there, you know, instances of behaviors, even just this time, I'm not going to make up a story. This time I'm going to be upfront. This time I'm going to trust,
Mhm.
and you can even take it at a one
One thing.
incident at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
And then make the decision next time. I'm just going to do it this one time. And then next time, I don't know. I might just do I might do the old pattern again. But this time I'm going to do it. And yeah. AKD says, I want to be honest. I want to be honest. Yeah, that's good. This is going to sound lame, but I will try to be honest with my family first. That's very good. I always told them I had zero problems and worries. I don't know if I can, but I'll try. Honestly, when someone tells me that they have zero problems and worries, I don't believe them, because I think that's part of the issue. I remember a buddy of mine got married, and on his wedding day, him and his wife had this like big old fight, right? Like while at the reception. And her dad mentioned to me, because I'd gotten to know this guy, and it was good, he said, oh man, first day of their marriage and they're already having marriage problems. I don't know. And I'm like, well, of course they have marriage problems. They're married. And he looked at me funny. He's like, he didn't expect that to come out of my mouth. I'm like, duh. when you're married, you have marriage problems. I guarantee it. When you're single, you have single problems. And he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah, we just always have problems." I'm like, exactly. There's always problems. We always have to solve problems, and that,
Yeah.
that's just part of life. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's part of working through it. It's okay. But anyway, yeah. So, but I'm so proud of you because
Yeah.
this to mention it and to talk about it, that you're bringing light to a part of your life that you've shrouded in darkness for so long, and now you've put a light right on it,
Yeah.
even if it's anonymously with people that don't know you. You've shined a light on it, on this dark part of your life. And what happens when you shine light into darkness? The darkness retreats into the corners. Every time, light will overpower darkness. And and this dark part of your life that you've had, you just brought out a big old spotlight on it. Now we're gonna look at it, and you know what? It's gonna dissipate. It's gonna go away. It's gonna hide. So I'm telling you, I'm so proud of you. And I know, even though it might take a while to fully do it, you can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we're gonna love you no matter what.
Yeah. Please keep coming back. We'll be so happy to have you here and join us and be a part of that journey that you're going through.
Mhm.
It's one of those things where you'll be going through this, right? And you're gonna be finding new things about yourself and then encountering new problems. Um, and that's cool because when you get over your problem, right? If you start getting over one problem, you'll find other problems. But then when you find those problems, you're like, oh my gosh, how long have I had these? And then you knock those out of the way. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. And then you find like a little bit more problems here and there, and you're like, well, I'll tackle these. I can do
Mhm.
this. Yeah, I figured this out. I understand now. They're just always there. And the more you tackle, the better you get.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
Yep. But
Like
then you get harder ones.
it's like leveling in a video game. You're like, yeah, the bosses they just keep on coming, but you know what? The more I fight, the better I get. Like
That's
just
right.
keep coming. Like I don't care.
And the bosses get harder.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, sometimes the bosses. Yeah. Here, let's not talk about that. No, just kidding.
But
But
you're better equipped, and you're more confident.
yeah.
Yep. Well, that's awesome. I'm very happy that you're here, AKD, and I'm glad. He says I will come back, and I want to make people feel good too. It's interesting. That's kind of what happens around here. We're kind of growing an army of people that love other people.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
really
interesting. You said you're Muslim, and I appreciate you mentioning that. I know we have Church of Latter-day Saints. Ryan and I are both Roman Catholic. So we've got a whole span of faith traditions.
oh, we got
Uh,
atheists.
Atheists, yep, we absolutely. But we all share elements of truth in
Mhm.
all of our belief systems. We share truths,
Yep.
and you know, and also we share the idea that people ought to love each other, and that we ought to accept each other, and that we all understand we all have issues. It's okay. We're all here. We all need a place where we can be accepted and loved and encouraged, and that's what we're putting here.
Yeah.
Agnostics, even. Yep.
Yeah. Agnostics. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. People of all different walks of life and faith and spirituality, and you know what? We're getting along.
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
and that's because love is one of those things. To love someone is to desire the best for them.
Mhm.
That's plain and simple.
Mhm.
And we all want the best for each other because we have that understanding. Like, yeah,
that's good. And we all just kind of try to support each other with that. And I think that's, it should come naturally in our world, but it doesn't. So this is a kind of the oasis that we're trying to, dump more water into, and hopefully someday we'll get an ocean. But yeah, that was a
Yep.
weird cover up the desert. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But
Right.
anyway, thank you so much for the post, and I hope I'm hoping that this helps,
Hmm.
and I hope to see you again real soon.
Hmm.
So you're very, very welcome, and come back again.
Halo.
S-
I like your name,
who?
Starlight.
Oh yeah, Starlight Reaper.
Hmm.
Yes, that is a cool name. All right. So is Kira Ascendant still here?
We've got a little time left, right?
Oh yeah, we can do one more. It took us a while to get to topics, so we kind of,
That's true, and that's
you
mostly
know,
Jesse's fault.
it is Jesse's fault. Jesse and Princess, those two.
Yeah, those two just kept on going on,
I know, man.
man.
It's like it took us so long to get
So long to
started.
start. They kept on like, "Oh, is he gonna start yet?" Every time it just gets longer. You interrupt our process of starting something, and then we have to start over starting something. No, I'm just kidding. We love you guys. Is that who?
Yes. Okay. Kira is still here.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. Do you want to read this one, Ryan?
Yeah,
You haven't read one yet this stream.
Okay. Yes, I can read this one.
Wait, did Princess already?
Dang, she's
Princess
so
already posted it. Oh, she's so fast. I'm posting it anyway.
Yeah, you know what? Just because
I'm just gonna do it.
I love you, Princess. All right. This. Oh my gosh, did I just mess something up? No, okay, I'm fine. So this is from Kira Ascendant. The topic is working on projects, and it reads as follows. I have a lot of issues with working beyond the first 2 or 3 steps in any kind of project. I get a lot of cool ideas, but after a while, I feel like I'm wasting my time on the wrong thing. Oh man. Yeah. That's relatable. Okay, so
yes, absolutely.
Dude, you are barking up the right trees, my friend. Because do we have experience in this? Oh yeah, definitely. No, that's a great topic. And thanks for coming here and joining us. It's been nice to see you, and communicating with the people here and waiting so patiently for your topic to get touched on. So thank you. Anyways, with no further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Joe, and let him just share his own experiences in this field.
I don't want to share my own experiences in this field.
You want them to have to go through that. I get it. Yeah.
It's embarrassing, man, because like seriously, like some of the people who are here, they've heard some stories about some stuff. And they've heard some stories about the same stuff that's still not finished. And yeah. Yes. Oh yeah, Kira, I am such a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Static's work as well. The Criminal Idol series, I love it.
I don't even know, but yeah, I've heard he's pretty good. No.
Princess, you just shined a light right on it.
Yeah, that's what he was feeling though.
Let me tell you a story about working beyond the first 2 or 3 steps in any kind of project and then dropping it and whatever and then giving it back. Okay. So, man, I wrote this song, and in fact, I remember actually putting out a Facebook post about this. It's like there used to be these commercials, where they would talk about, this thing is $1. This thing is $20. This thing is $40. The blah, 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 blah. This part of it, priceless.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You remember those commercials?
Yeah.
So I remember, what's that?
MasterCard.
Maybe, I don't remember. It's some kind of credit card probably. But anyway, so I put this post on Facebook, right? And I said, drumsticks, $7. Drum set, $500. Recording equipment, $2,000 or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Going 27 takes in a song and discovering that take 1 was your best performance. Priceless.
That's good. That's a good.
Because I even counted them. I did 27 takes on the drum part for this song. And I did all of those. And I listened to them. And then I was like, the first take was the best one. I could have stopped at take 1. But anyway, so I've got this song, and that post I posted, I think it was what? The year 19, no, not 19. It was 2000.
No.
What? It wasn't 2018. It wasn't in the 1900s either.
No.
I think it was 2010 or 2011. 2011.
I think 2011 sounds right to me. Yeah, it had to be 2011. 2011 is when that was the year you were writing it. I remember that specifically.
Yep.
Because I remember
What's that?
I said because I remember what I was writing at that same time.
Oh yeah. Stuff that was on your old channel that you've published, put out way more stuff since then. Now I've put out other songs since then. I've written other stuff since then. But this one particular song, I would start it and I would work on it, and I got a long ways, and I did really good. And then something else would come up, and I'd start doing it, whatever, blah, 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 drop it for a while, right? And then I go back and I'd do it some more, and not very much. And then but something else would pop up, and I'd be all focused elsewhere and all this kind of stuff, right? So now it's in the top 3 of my to-do list, is to get this thing public, because it's done now.
It is done, actually, and I love it. I've loved the piece since you first created it, and now it's like even better. So I'm excited for everybody to hear it.
Well, so now it's just a matter of putting some artwork together for it, for like a cover art, and releasing it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And there is like one little tweak I want to make to the master.
Okay.
No more tweaking.
But yeah, whatever.
You just start down that road and then you blah blah. I know, whatever. But at any rate, so I have those issues too, Kira Ascendant. If you don't mind if I call you Kira, it's easy to say. Yeah. But I do that also with a lot of other things too. There's another project that's in my top 3 projects to work on right now. That's about halfway done. It hasn't been sitting there for 8 years, but it's been sitting there for 6 months. Kirsten, says, to clarify, it's not just different tries at similar things, but all over the place, from game design to story writing to graphic art to video editing and so on. Kira's fine. The username is meant to be read as part of a name, as a part name. Okay, cool. That's very interesting, because and you feel like you're wasting your time on the wrong path. So you're doing game design, you're doing story writing, graphic art, video editing. What's interesting is that all of those things could be in the same field, really.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All of those things could be parts of one project.
Yes.
So, okay, so you feel like you're wasting your time on the wrong path, not just the wrong step. Thank you for clarifying. I've also been there. I've pursued business interests, you know, for years, and then figured out that I was probably my talents would be better served elsewhere. So I've been there before as well. But so how do you pick, really? How do you pick what's important? And that's really hard for me. A lot of times will call up Ryan's brother Kyle, and he will help me prioritize, and he'll help me. I mean, even us, the guys who, you know, we're here, we have Don't Worry Wednesday, where we try and help people with their issues. I have issues that I have other people help me with too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Probably one of the most important things you can do. You have a lot of these different things. You feel like you're on the wrong path. Do a little bit of thinking. Here's what I would recommend. I would recommend do some thinking, do some pros and cons, maybe write some stuff out, and kind of do some comparing of some different stuff you like to do. And take a project or a task or something in an area and finish that thing. And say to yourself, this is the thing, and this is what I have. This is what I'm working on right now. I used to be able to do this a lot better, and somehow I lost the habit, and I'm working on regaining it. And it's the habit of finishing. And I've finished plenty of stuff before, but whatever path you decide, ultimately, the habit of finishing is going to be so important, because whatever you're doing, to start it and move on to something else without finishing, it does the world a disservice. And we have a little mantra that Ryan and I like to say, and that is, it's not finished unless it's public.
Mm-hmm.
It's not done unless it's been released to the world. It's not done until it's out there, right? That's our definition of finishing and for what we are doing here. Now, that doesn't always, that's not always the finished point of a project, right? I recently finished a task, and I did that last night, and I was super duper proud of myself.
Good. Yeah.
I was like, I finished this thing, and I was like, yes. Because I had put a priority on it, and I had made a commitment that I was going to do it by today, and I did it last night. And I was like, yes. And then early this morning, I got an email saying something on it was wrong. And I was like, no. But that's okay. It was a quick fix, right? But I'll tell you, you say you choose things on a whim, you know, which is the right path. You choose the path mostly on a whim. I understand. But then, okay, Kira says, it's going to be really hard to finish these projects. I tend to say, this sounds like something I really, really want to make. And as I make it stack on more and more and start to realize the scope,
Mm-hmm.
I think I can see where this is going. Maybe it ends up being much, much bigger than you
Yeah.
thought. Yes. We don't always know what we're getting ourselves into. So I heard a speaker one time say, okay, and then once I see how far I have to go, it makes it seem impossible. Yes, it can feel like that. So here's what you do in that situation, right? You do what I heard a leadership author say one time, and he said, you chunk it up. You break it up into chunks. And you say, all right, this part, this part, this part, this part, and you maybe a dozen chunks, right? And so then you can still develop the habit of finishing, but you just finish the chunk. And at that point, you can decide whether or not you want to take on another chunk or you want to move on to something else. But everything that's worthwhile takes time and effort, and sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes a lot of time. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes more than a year. Sometimes one simple song can take you 8 years. But what else you got to do?
True.
And when you start finishing chunks, what happens is it gives you the confidence to finish. And it gives you the confidence to start another chunk too, because then you're like, okay, I did that. And I can do this next one. That wasn't so bad. I'll do the next one. And then that wasn't so bad. So you do the next one. And then before you know it, you're at the end of it. And you're like, I can't believe I did that. And every step along the way, you had a success. Maybe you had 12 successes along the path before you finished it. Kira says, is it okay to not go linearly with projects? Like do one chunk and then move on to something else for a while? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And yeah, sometimes that's a part of figuring stuff out. I think Princess said something up here at one point. The thing is trying out things and learning about what you don't like is as helpful as finding stuff you do like. And yes, I really like that statement. And sometimes when we don't really know, when we don't really know whether or not it's the right path to be on, it's good to try some things out. It's good to say, okay, I'm setting a goal and this is the end of the chunk, right? And so then that's my finish point for this chunk. And I'm going to see where it's at right then. And then if I want to set it aside for now because I'm not into what's going on here, I can try something else. That's okay. Kira says, also, if I start to get a lot of setbacks in one area, what should I do?
The more I put it off, the more I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's yes. The more I put it off, the more I don't want to do it. That's a very common thing. The more I procrastinate, the more I don't want to do stuff either. Absolutely. But setbacks depends. Sometimes it depends on the type of a setback you're dealing with. But a lot of times I think setbacks are just challenges to be overcome. It's just something for me to dig in a little bit harder and finish. Like if it's a setback in the middle of one of my chunks, then I would say figure out the solution so you can get to that finish point that you've set for yourself.
Sometimes in music, me and Joe will talk about something because like I know I've had setbacks where I'm trying something and I can't get it to come out. And then I've called up Joe and asked him some ideas and he's given me some, and then I get through it because I have someone to go off of who has experience. And he's done that with me as well. It pulled up in something and he calls me on the phone and we talk about it for a little bit. And then we come up with some interesting things to try out. And then maybe nothing I said worked, but it got the ball rolling again to get experimental. And once you start experimenting, you might find yourself in a new place where you don't even necessarily feel that setback anymore.
Hmm.
You know, so
Yeah. In fact, in Ryan's upcoming release,
mhm.
the next installment of Criminal Idol, he asked me, he was like, hey, because I had been listening to the instrumental version of this song and I'd been singing along. I'd been coming up with my own tune for it, right? And he's like, well, you mind sharing that with me? Because I'm kind of lost here. And I was like, okay. And so I shared it with him. And the funny thing is he took those sections in totally different direction than I thought.
Yeah,
That it was different than what I had sent him,
but it was based on what you sent me.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like it was kind of based on that, but then he took it and made it his and made it way better, in my opinion, and like made this masterpiece of a song that now you all really want to hear.
It is probably my favorite piece of the entire uh, um, 13-part set of season 1.
Yeah,
I like this one.
I think it's mine too, actually.
Yeah.
But at any rate, there's so now we're gonna give you guys a teaser for what's coming. But anyway, I've spoken a lot, Kira. We've kind of been able to go back and forth a little bit. But Ryan, why don't you take it for a while?
I've got a lot of things to say about this. Okay. The first thing I'm going to say is this, because I've got so many things on my mind that came up that I thought about that I wanted to share, and hopefully I can get to them all. First thing I want to say is this. One time I heard a speaker from stage say this, and it changed the way I thought about things, and I loved it. And it's this. A lot of the most successful people in the world, whether it comes to finances or just doing amazing things in the world around them. I mean, you can even think of people like people we call saints, like, Mother Teresa, who gave up all of her finances to go live among the poor. But we acknowledge her for that because she did so much for that community in Africa who hated her. I think is that right?
India.
Oh, India. Yeah, India, not Africa. India. Sorry.
Close.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Just across the water there. The pond. No. Okay. Anyways. But yeah, I mean, there's some people in life that we consider successful at something. And he said, this is one of the main things. It's not so much about picking the thing that's going to work. It's about picking something and making it work. The guy from Amazon.com, you know that guy? He's the one that said that. He said, I don't always know what the next big thing is. I just pick something and finish it. I pick something and I say, I'm going to make it work. So that was one thing that kind of like changed the way I thought about stuff in life. You pick something and you make it work. Don't worry about what's going to be successful, what's going to be perfect, because a lot of times, no matter how much we ponder that, we cannot find the answer. I couldn't tell you that for sure. I knew that It's Not Like I Like You, that song was going to explode. I thought, hey, this could, but I didn't know for sure. I didn't.
Was a surprise. That was a surprise one to me too.
Yeah, I didn't program that out of like, okay, if I put these pieces together, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what the world needs. Yeah, this product. No, I didn't know that. What I did is I picked an idea and I made it work. The other thing is this. Joe talked a lot about this. Finishing something is a talent of its own. Starting something is a talent some people don't have.
Yeah.
Starting something is one talent. Finishing something is another talent. And we're capable of learning these talents. But like Joe said, you got to start trying to do it and get into the habit of doing it. Finish little things at first. Finish small things, little chunks. And eventually you'll get in that habit of finishing, and you'll adapt and learn that habit of, oh, I can finish things. It's a talent all its own,
Mhm.
but you'll get there. Don't count yourself out. You can learn how to do that. And I think if you, you know, uh, I've lost my train of thought actually. um, let's see. So with with finishing your stuff, and with starting your stuff, they're two different things, because here's the thing. You said earlier, let me find it. Oh yeah, if you procrastinate, right? If you don't work on it for a while, then you never finish it, because it's like, I don't want to do it anymore, you know? And that's a lot of times the state you're in when you finish the product, when you finish whatever your project is. Here's the thing that's important that I had to learn myself, and that is motivation is an emotional response to something in our lives. Okay? It's an emotional response. And the reason that's important to understand that it's an emotion is because emotions, all emotions, whether it's anger or sadness or happiness and joy or whatever, frustration and motivation, they're all emotions, they're responses. So think about it for a minute. If you say, you know what? I like this person, but I'm not going to ask them out unless I get angry about something. And you're like, "Hey, come my way, anger. Something get me. Someone punch me. Like, I want to get angry now so that I can ask that. I'm gonna wait for emotion. I'm gonna wait for that specific emotion before I do anything. I'm gonna sit here and do nothing until that happens. Right? Obviously, you see like how strange that is. Motivation, a lot of times we chase after that, and we're putting the cart before the horse. We're expecting that motivation is what's going to be there for us to drive us to the end of the project, but it never is. It rarely is. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we start working on something. That's the thing. If you start working on something, you give yourself a chance at having an emotion, a response to your work. So a lot of times, if I'm working on a song and if I have a song and I put it off for like a couple of days and I look at it, I'm like, man, no, not today. And I come back the next day, I'm like, yeah, not today. I catch myself. I'm like, wait, I've run out of motivation. I don't want to do it anymore. So I open the song and I get into it and I start messing stuff around, start messing things up, start moving things around, start trying to fiddle around, start trying to experiment, create new things, create new sounds, whatever. And my mind starts moving. And then that emotional response comes from my actions. And that emotional response is, oh, I'm actually kind of wanting to work on this now. I feel a little bit of motivation. Maybe I can, just do a little something, and then like 4 hours later, I'm like, yeah. And then like 6 hours after that, I'm like, yeah, this is great. I got 2 minutes done. No, it's usually way more than that. But anyways, that response comes from action. So when you feel like you don't want to finish something, just open it up, start working on it. And when you have little baby steps of movement in that, that's going to roll and give you some momentum. And that momentum is going to give you that emotional response of motivation. If you wait for that response of motivation before there's anything to trigger it, you will never do anything ever of your own volition. And I think that's an important word, volition. It's something we all need. It's not a virtue that I know of, but I feel like that should be a virtue. There should be a virtue called volition. Volition is the power of will. What is the power of your will? Your willpower. Are you strong enough? Honestly, it's called self-control. That's volition. So there is a virtue. It's called self-control. Can you do something when you have no emotional desire to do it? If you can, you might be rewarded with emotion. That'll get you through it. But don't rely on it because it is an emotion. It comes and it goes. It waxes and it wanes. And I think that's one of the most important things I can say about that issue. So yeah, main thing, pick something. Don't worry about if it's the right thing or the wrong thing. If you're passionate about it, you've got many choices that you like. Pick something and make it work. And then 2, don't put the cart before the horse. Motivation is an emotional response. And then 3, the other thing I said. You probably remember it. I don't know. But yeah. I think that's about everything I really wanted to say. But yeah. Well, what do you have to add on to that, Joe?
Well, I'm interested in hearing your response to the question that Kira posted here. That Ryan, early on in Criminal Idol, did you ever think that it might be something you weren't, that it might not be something you were meant to write? Like it was the wrong idea?
No. I knew I had the choice of whether I wanted to finish it or not.
Okay.
And I said, I'm going to finish what I started. Finishing. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Finishing, it's a choice. And I could choose to just stop. But the thing is, if I choose to stop, what am I going to? The only time I ever quit something is if I'm going forward quitting. The only time I stop something is if I know that there's something I need to stop this in order to do that. If I have nothing to run to, like I remember we talked about this a few times now in this stream. Me and Joe were a part of a specific business, and one of the things that we would say is, yeah, we could quit, but quit to what? There's nothing else for us. This business is what we've got. So quit to what? Yeah. Oh yeah, it's hard. It's difficult. We don't like it all the time. Yeah, I could just whine and quit. Maybe this isn't the right path in life. But what is if this isn't? And if it's not, that's okay. We eventually figured out where our positions were, where we were meant to be, where we were meant to be going. And honestly, I found out where I wanted to be, where I wanted to go when Joe had mentioned some things to me about the fact that music can change people's minds and hearts. And I was like, yeah, that's so true. And I really took that and said, that's my will. That's my desire. That's my purpose in life. I can, and now I don't expect that to be the case throughout my entire life, but I know at the moment that's the path I want to take. And I remember being in that position for years, waiting for Joe to join me. He was always there, and he was always on my team, but he wasn't all in. But he's all in now, and I'm so happy that he is. Now I didn't know, that was his choice to make, whether that's what he wanted to do. And yeah, I've never had to second guess, because it's like, quit to what? If there is something to quit to, then yeah. For Joe, there was. For me, there was at a time when I was in that business and I was like, wait, I can pursue this business or I can do this. I can't do both. I know me. I can't do both. What am I going to do? And I said, I'm going to go for Black Static and Swerve every time. That's where my heart is. So I knew I could quit to something that was even more important to me. If there's something like that, then yeah. But Criminal Idol, for example, no. it's not that big of a deal where it's like a life decision. It's a choice. I'm going to be making songs either way.
Hmm.
In fact, Criminal Idol series gives me that opportunity to figure out, oh, there's a storyline here and it's progressing. So that gives me content to actually write about. Like
Hmm.
it comes naturally. Okay, that's amazing. That's because a lot of times otherwise I'd have to think about life situations that I've gone through myself and like try to figure out messages that could correlate and all of that. Instead, I have a story and they have their own like life situations, and I get to work through that and just, you know, easy. It's great. It's great. So I've never had doubts about it. Um, but have I had doubts about things before? Sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to say anymore. Just sometimes you gotta stick with something, even if you don't feel like it um,
Hmm.
at the moment, because you know the end term. I think it's always good to look at things from a bigger picture. A lot of times we get caught up in the moment, especially when we feel these emotions, right? Like, oh man, I really dread working on this project. Sometimes we get caught up in our emotions. We can't see the big picture. It's always
Hmm.
good to be able to take a step back, look at the big picture of the project, look at the big picture of the people that it connects with and why you're doing it, who it might be helping, and then the bigger picture of that life in total. And if you believe in it, afterlife, putting everything into proper perspective,
Hmm.
and then starting motion again from that new and more enlightened or more wide viewed, future oriented perspective, because that gives us it just clears things up. And that's why so many times Joe and I actually go to my brother when we talk, even if uh, maybe we could talk it out with ourselves, or we seek other people for counsel, from time to time.
Hmm.
And a lot of times we just kind of, talk about random things, talk about, go back and forth and get that picture, get whatever situation we're in and widening it. And we're just basically together, we're pushing the walls back, bouncing ideas off each other until we're at the full picture of reality and say, now that we've got this full big picture, where do we go from here? Now we can start connecting the pieces that lead us to the end game. Um, and then again, it's all about picking something and making that work.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I do want to mention one thing. Criminal Idol, if you look at that project, the first episode of Criminal Idol, which is actually episode 2, was released 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So there are currently 10 episodes right now that have been released, and it's been over the course of 4 years,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Just,
And
I'm sorry, but yeah.
no. Well, here's the thing. So, because you had asked Kira about, is it okay to, do a chunk and then move on to something else? Absolutely. Here's the thing. If you can, like Ryan was just talking about, take a look at the big picture. What's the big picture of all of this mean? Like all these different things. Like, because we were talking as I looked at the things you're interested in, all of those are related to the same thing: game design, video design, story writing. All those different things, they combine into they can all be part of the same overarching thing, right? And so I would maybe take a step back and see if you can figure out something that all of that fits into, and then that can be kind of like the overarching mission. But then it makes all those chunks of different things, they all start to make more sense and they start to feel more connected. And so then you don't feel like you're necessarily wasting your time when you switch, because you're just working on a different aspect of the bigger picture,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. Because here's the thing, at Blackstack and Swerve, when we formed this company, the whole idea is to produce media that can help enrich people's lives.
Mhm.
Like, that's basically it. I had heard of this concept way back a long time ago, this concept called the media war, and I looked at mainstream media, and I'm like, there's so much poison, mental poison in mainstream media, you know. And I'm sorry if that offends any of you guys. I'm sorry, but it's very true. So much stuff that's degrading, so much stuff that's just dehumanizing, so much that just makes you feel bad about yourself or makes you feel addicted to things or just make all kinds of stuff, right?
Mhm.
And I remember hearing this concept of a media war. It's like, hey, we want to put better messages. We want to fight the mentality that the mainstream media brings in. And it's like, oh, so here's what we want to do. We want to produce things, whether it's this show, Don't Worry Wednesday, whether it's Criminal Idol, whether it's Cloud Witness Theater, which preview for something
Know about that, yeah.
to come. Nobody knows about Cloud Witness Theater. There are lots and lots of different things on the table.
Double cup of Joe.
Double Cup of Joe, a Kickstarter campaign. There's
So many avenues.
different shows, different podcasts, different series of different things. There's, man, Ryan and I spent how long did we spend just recording conversations of ourselves?
Before we even started Don't Worry Wednesday?
Yeah, before we started doing Don't Worry Wednesday, because we were doing that too.
Hours worth of. It's like, how long were we doing it each time? Like an hour or 2 hours?
I don't remember. I don't even remember because it was
I
a
don't
while ago. But
Yeah.
but now we have this body of material that we can then just doctor up and produce and release. What's that?
It might be like 12 hours or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy. But at any rate, so here's the thing though. All those different things that we've switched to, we've switched here, we've switched there, we've switched, we've gone to Don't Worry Wednesday. We're, producing it as a podcast for a while. We started other shows and then switched and but the thing is every single time we switched, we're still within the overarching goal of creating media that enriches people's lives. And then sometimes it's like, all right, what should be our focus right now? Because what's going to help us move forward quicker, what's going to help us grow faster so we can then put more focused energy into everything else. What's the big hammer to pound with right now, right? And so that's why we have meetings every week and we talk about, like all the stuff we have available and what's the thing to focus on right now. And how do we finish that up and get it out there and get it done so then we can move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that changes.
Things are more about finishing something up than it is about starting something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's okay. Where you're at is okay. Maybe you need to take a step back and look at it. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe like Ryan was talking about, you need to pick something and make it work. I love that. I love that. As a Jeff Bezos.
That's what said it?
Yeah. You said the Amazon guy. That's Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
Bezos or Bezos or however you pronounce it.
However he pronounces it.
However he pronounces it, yes.
Which is different than how his mother pronounced it. So I
don't. Yes. So at any rate, Kira, you're awesome. And I tell you, I would love to see some of this stuff. I think you said on there, when I finish one, I'll definitely share on the Discord. Yes, you could do that. Go to bss.studio. We have areas for people to share stuff. I mean, people have shared songs they've done, artwork. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff people have shared, poetry and stories and everything. We would love to experience some of the stuff that you've created.
Oh, and one more thing I wanted to say, and it's something you said earlier, Joe, is that Joe kind of created this, but your product or your song or your whatever it is, it's not finished until it's out into the public. And the reason that is because of this. Who are you writing for? Who are you writing your story for? Who are you writing your song for? Who are you writing the game for? Who are you designing the game for, right? Is it for you? Yeah, probably a little bit. But it's also for everybody else. It's for other people to experience. So it's not finished until it's in other people's hands. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people get caught up in, oh no, it's not done yet. It's not perfect. I can't release it. Don't worry about it being perfect. It just has to be good. Because perfection is not the point of life or of living or doing anything. It's how good it is, how valuable it is. That's the important thing. Not how perfect it is, how valuable, how good. And so if you're working on something, you get into a point where you just keep on like tweaking things and it's just like looking for that perfect every whatever. Sometimes you just have to say, you know what? This is good as it is. I don't need it to be perfect. I just need it to be good. I mean, by good, I mean good for others to experience. Then you know when to quit. You know when it's done to be able to be released. So anyhow, I just wanted to say that as another note that I was thinking about when Joe was talking earlier.
Well, I'm glad I talked so long, so then you could think about great things to say.
Me too, because a lot of my great things I had to say were the things that you said.
Well,
I get my greatness from you.
Well, I absolutely not.
I soak it up through the meat. I just kind of got that brain power flowing up into my abdomen.
Yes.
Great. You guys should be jealous.
I'm jealous.
Why?
Kira Ascendant Avatar, thank you.
Yes, thank you
for posting, and thank you for being patient. Before we got to your post, because you and AAKD kind of posted at the same time, and thank you for being patient and allowing us to discuss it. I was really,
yeah, Noisy. That's awesome.
It was a very vibrant discussion.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I tell you what, this might be the longest episode we've done.
It is. Even though the first 23 minutes were just us kind of just
they were Princesses and Jesse's fault. They were. That's what they were actually were.
I mean, if you were to tell the whole line, that's their
fault. Jesse's asleep.
He's like, I need sleep.
He's like, you guys are too late.
You know what? Let's just tack on another 23 minutes at the end in memorial of our great Thanksgiving to Princess and Jesse for keeping this stream so great and on topic.
Yes. Wait, memorial?
It's okay.
As in we're putting that to rest. We're not going to do it anymore.
Memorial is not the right word. In recognition. In recognition.
Yeah. That's better.
Right word. Recognition of them. Sorry.
Yes. No, thank you guys all for being here, and thank you, Princess and Jesse. Princess is our chat room hostess. Jesse produces the show, and we wouldn't be able to do this without them. I mean, I'm telling you, like they keep things running smoothly in ways that we wouldn't be able to do ourselves.
Oh yeah. It's hard juggling everything. We've done it before, and we're like, oh man. So nice when we have. And we can't give you our all if we're like trying to get everything in the right position, getting the words in this box over here, and trying to manage the chat and click through and add the new questions you guys have to. We are all disoriented and cannot give you our full focus when it comes to giving you a coherent response. So they make the show happen.
Yes. But actually, you know what, honestly, it's our community that makes the show happen.
That's true. That's true.
All you guys that are here that are posting in the chat and that are posting at bss.studio, sending us emails, you guys make the show happen.
Yeah.
Because that's the material we go over.
Yeah. We wouldn't, if you guys weren't here, we would have nothing to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'd have plenty to talk about, but it wouldn't be
It wouldn't be
it
great.
wouldn't be as good.
It wouldn't be this.
It wouldn't be nearly as good.
Wouldn't be this at all.
In fact, we just talked about we have 12 hours of it that we might release. That's probably not as good as a Don't Worry Wednesday episode.
Yeah, a single one. No.
Yep.
I feel like
So-
at this point that material, it was really good that we recorded it. It got us, used to the camera and getting comfortable talking about issues and things like that. But at this point, it's been so long. It's like, man, I want to go back and revisit it, and do it again.
Right.
Have better things come out, maybe. I don't know.
In time, I think on the list of about 50 things we have on the table right now, that's probably number 50.
Yeah. Right. We've got so much going on.
Yes, it's amazing. So thank you guys for being here, and stay tuned because we have a Kickstarter coming out in a matter of days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to make that video real quick,
Quick like. Yep, because there's a lot of stuff in place, and it's about ready to go to review, and we've got some great product offerings that are going to be coming out. They're just gonna have to wait and see, man.
Whoa.
Oh, or should I post the preview link?
Don't you dare do it.
Don't I dare do it?
Make them wait for it. It's
Okay.
good. Healthy. Jay just no, bad joke. Yeah, the stream will go on for even longer if you do that. All right, good night, guys. It was nice knowing you. We have to go now to see it. He's okay.
Yes, but okay, so it's spoiler enough to know that there's a Kickstarter coming. And yes. And it's gonna have some great product. It's for Criminal Idol. And yep, just to kind of push it over the edge and to figure out order numbers and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, just to generate some excitement. It's gonna be super sweet.
Yeah.
So yep, we're putting the finishing touches on it now. It's gonna be out in a matter of days. So yes, stay tuned to the Static P YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. Thanks,
So,
guys.
Yes, thanks for being here. Come back on Friday. We'll be back for Don't Worry Wednesday, the Friday edition, and we'll see you then.
Yep. Bye-bye, guys. Peace.
Bye, guys.